Hi, my name's Daniel, and we're at the Ignite Studio today. And today we're going to be going over the charcoal and graphite drawing kits. So in our graphite drawing kit, you'll notice that we have first our Lee Hammond's all-new Big Book of Drawing, which goes over basic techniques in graphite as well as how to use the tools. We have our different papers here. So we have newsprint paper, and then we also have our sketching paper. Okay. And then we also have our masking tape, kneaded eraser, and of course, our graphite pencils. All right. And in our charcoal kit, you'll notice that we have the same paper, but unique to the charcoal kit, we also have our sandpaper paddles, our blending stump, and of course, our charcoal. Now let's go over how to use these tools. All right, so we'll be demonstrating with sketching paper and newsprint paper. One thing about newsprint paper is that it's really good practice paper. It's very smooth surface and it lets the pencil just glide. And then we also have our sketching paper here, which allows us to see more clearly and gives us better feedback on our paper. Newsprint also tends to yellow over time, so just keep that in mind when drawing with newsprint and sketching paper. All right, so with sketching paper and with our graphite pencils, you'll notice that once you open the kit, we have numbers on these pencils that say this one's 2H and this one's 4B. Now, what do these H and B letters mean? So H represents hardness, and B represents blackness. Blackness has stronger values of color. It's very dark, as you can see here. And hardness, for our other graphite pencil, gives us a finer, lighter value here. So the appropriate situations in which you'll use the 2H pencils or the H pencils in general is for technical drawing. So if you're doing something like drawing a figure or doing like a blueprint or something, very technical, very sharp, that's generally what you'll want to use these for. The the blackness pencils here are very good for shading and darker values in general. And so that's generally what you want to keep in mind when working with B pencils and our H pencils. And of course, depending on the number of the pencil, represents the intensity of that pencil's letter. Over here we have our kneaded eraser. So our kneaded eraser is good for having that flexibility of erasing. So if you want like more of a precise erase mark, you would adjust your kneaded eraser like so, and it'll give you that kind of light erase there. You can also pull it apart too if that helps you give you better control. So something like that, it lets you pretty much manipulate how you want to erase. And this is good for highlights or very small points in your piece that you want to erase. Of course, depending on how hot it is, it reduces its effectiveness, so just keep that in mind. Of course, we also have our standard white erasers too. And that's pretty much what you'll find in our graphite drawing kit. Now I'm going to show you the charcoal drawing kit. In here, you'll notice that we have two different kinds of charcoal. They look exactly the same, kind of, but they have two very different properties. So what are the different types? So this type is actually known as compressed charcoal. Compressed charcoal is actually very dark, and it gives you a lot of depth here and range in terms of value. So if you want those strong blacks in your piece, this is generally what that's good for. And it comes out really nicely on that newsprint, as you can see. Just glides along there. Really handy, really great for that kind of style. You'll notice that charcoal is a little messy too, but we'll get into that in a second. And this here is our Willow Charcoal. Our Willow Charcoal is going to be very different compared to our compressed charcoal. You'll notice here that it's kind of giving us that lighter value here. And like it's not going to be as dark compared to our compressed charcoal. And you can use this, it's also very thin compared to our other charcoal as well. So you can use this for like technical drawings and pretty much the same. You can think of this as like the H of compressed and the B of charcoal. So over here you'll notice that there are different tools for our charcoal kit as well. This is what is known as a blending stump. So this here is good for pretty much blending your lines together. So if you were doing like maybe a three-dimensional object, such as like a ball or something like that, you wanted to showcase a light, that would be great for this here. And you can either blend in the sharp way or use it like how I'm using it here, which is good for gradients and shade. And you'll notice here that it also gets very messy. So if you want to clean this up, you can use what we call a sandpaper paddle. And so what this does is it cleans all your tools. It's really handy for cleaning that charcoal right off of your tools there. Just like so. And we're back to blending, like nothing ever happened. So what if you don't want to get your hands messy when you're working with charcoal? We do have charcoal pencils. So these two pencil types are actually the exact same. They're both meant to be sketched with. So if you wanted to do some sketching with the charcoal, you could do that. And we're actually going to get another sheet of newsprint here. And that's how you would go about using charcoal here. And as you can see, I'm getting the accuracy that I want, but I'm also getting that nice range of value that charcoal is known to have. You can't get this with graphite, but it is a lot messier. All right, and let's say you wanted to correct any mistakes. So the best eraser to use with that would be our black eraser. So the black eraser is actually really effective at erasing charcoal. It does take a little while depending on how strong of the value that you're erasing from. But this is really effective at erasing lighter marks, typically from the Willow Charcoal pencil, like so. So I hope you enjoyed our demonstration here today with graphite and charcoal drawing. I hope you explore these tools here and learn a lot more on your own journey to creating art. Happy making.